We've tested a lot of really expensive flagship robot vacuums, and frankly, a lot of them have really amazing capabilities now. So Narwal just introduced the Freo Pro, and it's way more affordable than those flagship models, but they claim it has a lot of the flagship features. Narwal did send me this unit for review. However, I'm gonna point out we're gonna put this robot through our standard battery of 20 different tests, and we're gonna be critical, and you're probably gonna see some tests here that you're not gonna see on other channels, because this video, there's no cash being exchanged. And I'll tell you up front, this robot is not perfect, but it's very good for the price. So what is the Narwal Freo Pro? It's a mopping and vacuuming robot with their newest version of their anti-tangle system. For navigation and obstacle avoidance, it is a top-mounted LiDAR system that scans 360 degrees. It has a 3D structured light sensor in front and a time of flight sensor on the side. There's no camera, so if you're concerned about security, that's something to take into consideration. However, without a camera, I don't think obstacle avoidance is going to be as good as the most expensive robots. The Narwal has 8,500 pascals of suction. Narwal says that is better than the competitors in its price class. It has a U-pipe design which enhances airflow and reduces clogs inside the machine itself. And they say this design enhances fan efficiency by 30%. So let's get into the testing. Each area of our test is worth 5 points, except Hardwood pickup performance, which is worth 10 points because we think that core function is super important. For our Hardwood pickup test, we're gonna sprinkle 20 grams of sand on the floor. We're gonna send the robot out in maximum suction mode, 2 passes, and then see how much it picked up afterwards. Let's see how it did. That is 100% on Hardwood. Very good. For the next test, we're gonna sprinkle 20 grams of sand on carpet 2 times. First, we're just gonna sprinkle it, let the robot do its thing. And the second time, we're gonna grind it in with our special grinding in sand shoe. In the first carpet test, it picked up 80%, which is actually pretty good for a mid-priced robot. And when we grind it in, we found it picked up 60%. Our edge pickup test is designed to see how well a robot can pick up dirt along a baseboard. So I've sprinkled 20 grains of rice along this baseboard along with a little bit of sand. We're gonna set the robot out to do 3 passes and see how well it does. Now it's still working, but you can see along its first pass, it actually did a really good job of getting everything right up by the baseboard. However, it does tend to kick some of the dirt away from the baseboard like these pieces of rice. But I think it's gonna get them on the next pass. So after it finished its 3 passes, actually it did clean up everything on the floor really successfully because it starts along the baseboard and then it tends to go out into the room and do the subsequent passes here, so it got everything. For our corner sweeping test, we have 8 grains of rice and a little bit of pet hair. After 2 passes, it cleaned up all the rice and all the pet hair. The flagship robots tend to do it in 1 pass, but I think that's still a pretty good job. In our carpet edge cleaning test, the Freo Pro doesn't really get up to the baseboard on carpet, but then again, no other robot in our testing so far has. Narwal has always had a very interesting and very good anti-tangle design, starting with this central brush roll. You can see it is conical shaped. It comes out like this, and all the hair and dirt flows into this opening here. And so this is designed to reduce tangles on the brush roll, and it's actually quite effective. But now they've added this dynamic anti-tangle side brush. Normally when it's spinning around, it's going to be spinning around in this wide style like this. However, when it gets hair on it, it's going to go like this, and supposedly it's supposed to reduce tangles. And then it actually points the hair into the central brush roll like this. At least in my experience on some other robots that have more conventional side brushes that are fixed, they can get tangled up sometimes. We got some 10-inch hair in the floor. Let's see how it does. All right, I have just stopped the robot. I don't see any long hair on here at all, actually. And these side brushes are absolutely tangle-free. Oh, let's see where the hair went. There it is. My cats are ultra fluffy, which means I get an ultra big amount of hair everywhere. Let's see how the Narwal Freo Pro does with pet hair. see a little bit of cat hair here. Let's put it on maximum suction and see what happens. Let it run for a couple minutes, and indeed, that got rid of the cat hair. So yes, I think this Narwal anti-tangle system with the main brush and these side brushes is actually very effective. And that's pretty cool at this price point. So this has the rotating style of mop pad, but you can see they're not actually round, they're actually sort of a triangular design. And this is designed to increase the contact patch here and reduce streaking on the floor. If you do need to clean them, they come off pretty easily. And you can actually take the pads off and throw these in the wash or clean them in your sink. Our next test is our mopping test. First, I've made sure that we're starting with a clean surface. Then we're gonna pour a set amount of soy sauce on the floor and then send it out with maximum water, maximum passes, and then check the floor afterwards. There's a little bit of soy sauce on here, but not too bad. This seems to be pretty much in line with every other rotating pad style mopping vacuum that I've tried so far. Now we're gonna do it again, but we're gonna use Freo Mind mode, which is an AI mode, which is supposed to be able to detect dirt, and if it discovers it, it should go back to the base station, wash the mops and come back. However, only one robot that I've ever tested so far was able to do that, and that is the Roborock Saros 10R. And that is vastly more expensive than this one. Okay, and it just finished, and it just decided to do one pass, so didn't actually detect the dirt. But as I said before, it's a very difficult problem. Again, this is a mid-price robot. Here's what the pads look like before cleaning and after. Let's see how it looks. It looks pretty good, so I think it is very good at actually washing the mops. We tested edge mopping with a couple of different settings, and none of the settings that we tried really got the mops close to the edge of the baseboard. It was consistently about 1 inch to 2 inches away. And part of that, I think, is the fact that it doesn't have an extending mop pad like some of the more expensive competitors do. In our corner mopping test, the Freo Pro doesn't really get into corners very well, but this is kind of common with every robot that has round mop pads. And once again, because it doesn't have an extending mop pad, it doesn't really get very close to the corner at all. Our bumping test shows how careful a robot vacuum is with furniture. So if you have expensive furniture, this is something to take into consideration. The Freo Pro actually did a very good job bumping into the table legs just a tiny little bit, but mainly avoiding them. Let's talk about the base station and your options for dust collection. First, you can use this plastic dust canister here. This is gonna pick up all your dust. You can empty it out manually into the trash. Or the other option is you can use this disposable bag, which slots in here. And this uses dust compression technology, so you're able to store about 7 weeks or so of dust in this little bag, and it actually compresses it and flattens it out. If you don't want to have dust going back into your house when you're emptying it, this is a good option, although you do need to purchase these separately. You get a clean water tank and a dirty water tank. For cleaning the mop pads, this has hot air drying at 104 degrees Fahrenheit. If you need to clean the base plate, it comes out and you can clean it off. And if you're using this dust compression bag, there is an option to dry it out when it goes back to the base station so that you don't have any bacterial buildup. The mop pads are washed with cold water, and I should point out that even though you have dust collection on the actual robot, it is not on the base station itself. You're gonna find that type of technology in their higher end models. But overall, it's small, it's compact, and it's pretty straightforward. If I'm on the floor, it doesn't mean I've been drinking too much. It means that it is time for our obstacle avoidance test. Now, there's no camera on here, so my expectations are not that it's gonna be as good as a flagship robot. Let's see how well it does, especially with the fake pet poop. We've also got a sock and a shoe with the laces untied. And what's very difficult is this power cord here against the wall. We'll see how it does. Our obstacle test is designed to trip up even the most expensive robots, and actually it does quite frequently. So the fact that we have power cables and it ran over a sock and ran over the fake pet poop is kind of expected at this price point. However, let's talk about real-world obstacle avoidance. I've been using this in my house over the last couple weeks, and it's actually pretty good. But if you've got areas with pet mats or little floor mats, it can sometimes get stuck in those, so just set those as no-go zones. When it's cleaning and mopping the floor, it's at about 55 to 58 decibels. And when it's at the base station cleaning the mop, it's at about 63 decibels. So how does the Narwal Freo Pro stack up against other flagship robot vacuums. Let's look at the final score. In the core functions, the Narwal Freo Pro performed really well. It did well in hardwood pickup, it did well in carpet pickup, and it's also excellent with anti-tangle hair technology. Mopping performance is about as good as any other robot that has spinning mop pads. It's also very good at cleaning the mop pads. It doesn't perform as well in corner mopping and edge mopping as the flagship robots that have extending mop pads and extending brushes. Also, like every other robot we've tested so far, it doesn't do particularly well with carpet edge pickup. And as explained before, it's sort of okay with obstacle avoidance, but it's definitely nowhere near the much more expensive flagships, and it is very quiet. So it scored 63 out of a possible 105, and for our first mid-priced robot test, I think that's pretty solid. So when the Freo Pro goes on sale, which is April 24th, it's gonna be $699. However, come back here, I'm gonna have a discount code for $150 off. It's gonna be $549 for only 2 weeks, and then it's gonna go back up to the regular price. But of course, you know, the prices on these robots change all the time. Oh, and by the way, if you wanna save some money, I have a newsletter I'll be launching soon at vacuumnerds.com. Go ahead and join it, it's absolutely free. There's another great robot video right over here. See you in the next one.